Alright everyone, so much for them not being fake news. The Telegraph not only just apologized to Melania Trump, but actually paid her, I'm not sure exactly how much, but substantial damages for an article that they ran not that long ago, which was patently false. As in they got every date wrong, they got every fact about her life wrong, and basically it was one long spiel against Melania Trump, pretending like, oh, she wasn't successful, she was basically a dumbass, and you know, left what little she had behind because Trump, you know, basically wanted to lay or whatever. And it's just completely wrong, and it's completely disrespectful as well. I mean, this is a British outlet, supposedly accredited journalism. Wonderful time. But who wrote the article? Did they get canned? Probably not. Because that's the nature of fake news today. And keep in mind, you've got all of these cyber firms and the legacy media and shit breathing down the neck of the alt media, pretending like, oh my god, weird side of YouTube is a problem. Like I'll be making a video on that, conspiracy theory videos getting shoved aside in the recommended list and stuff. It's like, that's a huge problem. But it's not, what happened in Covington's not a huge problem. The lies of CNN with regards to WikiLeaks aren't a problem. When the New York Times basically took a dump on the entire world with that crazy shitty article with Trump Hotel and all these sites gobbled it down, that's not a problem. This isn't a problem. It's not a problem when libel occurs, because it's a Trump, so it's okay. And this is what you've seen time and time again, which is the defamation of individuals who are outside of the lame establishment, and I would class Melania as one. I'm not her husband, but Melania certainly, is quite common. Melania is a cheap target, though, because it's obvious she likes a private life. She appears to be more concerned with raising her son, you know, the one child they have that isn't already an adult, and which is her bio offspring, of course, raising him, sort of sheltering him really from what's going on. And I don't really blame her. I mean, I'm sure that there's probably a very specific parenting style involved with the Trump family. I have a feeling, yes, Donald Trump is probably a little hands-off. Now that he's the president, yeah, it's probably a good thing, by the way. She likes a private life, and so unfortunately, because it looks to the legacy media, what I see is someone who's rather humble, reserved, and wants to be, you know, a housewife. She wants to raise her family. A good thing, a virtuous thing. The legacy media sees an opportunity to defame her because, hey, if she's not constantly talking about aspects of her personal life and posting everything on social media and taking selfies all day and shit, we can just write the story for her because it's vacuous and it's an interest story. But the problem is, you've got to at least get the basic details right. They're saying, I think they got her birth date wrong and like the date she graduated, and so they extended from that, like that she had left school to be with Trump or something like that. And it's like everything in there. There were like 5 or 6 separate instances of clear-cut lies that any person who had a basic working knowledge of journalism would understand not to do that. Check, you know, to make sure what you're writing is at least relatively close to reality. Now, you can lie by omission and skew the facts and leave things out that are pertinent in order to use propaganda, but you can't libel people. That one thing can't be done. I mean, it's done to e-celebs all the time, but this is Melania Trump. You know, someone who can hire not just one lawyer, but 10 lawyers very easily and breathe down your neck, and has way more money than the Telegraph has. So it was funny to see this happen. Just more fake news, and it's common. The fake news does this all the time. The MSM, the lame stream, the lame establishment is what we should begin calling them. Truly the legacy media. It's certainly going to be a legacy if they keep having to shell out for defamation suits. Eventually they're going to run into some harder times than just BuzzFeed saying, well, we're closing a Twitter handle and firing 2 people. It's funny because they've got a Twitter handle, BuzzFeed Entertainment. And like, I guess they're shelving that along with, like, BuzzFeed Entertainment won't exist anymore. It's part of the cuts that they've made. It's like HuffPost Opinion, BuzzFeed Entertainment. They're trying to streamline and become more efficient. Really what they're going to do is they'll have less content, and in today's internet, not a great idea. As far as the Telegraph, though, it's like, you know, years ago you'd get, you know, people would show you Telegraph articles, or BBC would be another example. It's like, oh, look at this. Not very commonly anymore unless it's for the purposes of criticism. Like, I mean, I explicitly read news articles like that. That's part of my job because I like to analyze things, especially from the perspective of the media lying. And yet I still get fewer links from them than when I had 1/10 my audience and didn't explicitly do the current events thing, simply because nobody trusts them. Nobody, like, pays attention to the Telegraph anymore. What's their readership like? Like their website and stuff, their website traffic. Is it down? Like, are they collapsing like BuzzFeed is? Or Vox, or Salon, or Huffington Post. One thing, by the way, on the topic specifically of fake news. One reason why these sites are having so much difficulty is specifically there are simply too many of them doing the same thing. They all jumped down the tabloid spew Trump heroin bandwagon and started sensationalizing like they were the Inquirer. The problem is there are already groups like that. So now you're hyper flooded with, dozens and dozens of firms doing the same thing. It means that the audience is stretched pretty thin as far as people that actually want sensationalism. You might start getting nostalgic styles of journalism. Like maybe they'll have a cable slot that doesn't have the swinging lights and it's just one very reserved, grave-looking dude sitting there reading out the news in a monotonous voice. You can end up with something like that, and I bet they wouldn't defame Melania because they would know better. That's about all. Peace out.